Good morning. I'm Rochelle Bilal. This press conference is being held in collaboration with Black law enforcement civic organizations across the country. We came together to make a statement in response to the Tyre Nichols murder. We want to introduce ourselves to you. Let me start with, I'm Rochelle Bilal. I'm sheriff for the city and county of Philadelphia. I am a member of the Guardian Civic League, past president of the Guardian Civic League, past vice president of National Black Police Association, and a member of NABLEO. Redditt Hudson.
I'm Redditt Hudson, the National Coalition of Law Enforcement Officers for Justice, Reform, and Accountability. I'm a former St. Louis City police officer.
Cheryl Dorsey.
Cheryl Dorsey, retired 20-year veteran of the Los Angeles Police Department, sergeant, and member of the National Coalition of Law Enforcement Officers for Justice, Reform, and Accountability.
Jared Hakeem.
I'm a retired sergeant with the MTA Police Department and also vice chairperson of the Grand Council of Guardians, New York State.
Charles Billups.
I'm chairperson of the Grand Council of Guardians. I represent over a dozen different fraternal organizations and law enforcement throughout New York State. Also retired.
Alvin Bowman.
Yes, I'm a retired lieutenant from the Detroit Police Department. Spent approximately 32 and a half years, 23 years of which were in criminal investigations and the rest in management and patrol. I'm affiliated with the Guardians of Michigan and looking forward to joining in with the Noble organization.
Crystal Coleman.
President of the Guardian Civic League, vice chairperson of NABLEO, retired police officer, a veteran of 32 years. 16 of those years was spent as a homicide detective.
Retired sergeant and former police director with Trenton Police Department, executive board member with Bowles, known as Brother Officers Law Enforcement Society, and also a member of BCAP, Black Cops Against Police Brutality.
Charles Wilson.
My name is Charles Wilson. I'm a retired lieutenant with the Rhode Island College Police Department, a 45-year career veteran of law enforcement, and the immediate past national chairman of NABLEO.
Willie Williams.
Good morning, I'm Willie Williams, 33 years with the Philadelphia Police Department, representing the National Black Police Association, chairman.
Thank you. We're going to start with Dr. Lacy Davis.
Dr. Lacy Davis, retired sergeant, East Orange, New Jersey, found Black Cops Against Police Brutality, life member of the National Black Police Association, and I'll begin the press conference with the history of policing. I'm reading from Our Enemies in Blue, Police and Power in America by Christian Williams, Chapter 2, The Origins of American Policing. The standard story in the history of policing, if we may speak of such a thing, presents the modern American police force as a direct adaptation of the night watch following the English pattern. But this story leaves out significant stages in the development of American policing, or put differently, it omits an entire branch of American police family tree. The first major reform of the traditional system did not occur in any of the big Northwestern cities in the mid-1800s, but in the cities of the Deep South in a much earlier period. The 1780s, Charleston introduced a paramilitary municipal police force primarily to control the city's large population of slaves. These police forces, which I refer to as the city guards, were distinct from both the militia and the watch. They were armed, uniformed, and salaried. They patrolled at night, but kept a reserve for daytime emergencies. In most respects, they resembled modern American police departments to the same degree as did the London Metropolitan Police of 1829. These city guards did not arise out of nothing. To understand their origin, we must consider the peculiar institutions of Southern society in its social and economic systems and the police measures that rose to preserve them. Relying on a slave economy, the American South faced unique problems of social control, especially in America, where white people were the minority. Regardless of their own economic class or ethnic background, white people were haunted by the prospect of a slave revolt. They became utterly obsessed with controlling the lives of Black people, free and slave, and developed a deep and terrible fear of unsupervised activity in which Black people might engage. As a result, the South developed distinctive policing practices called slave patrol.
Thank you so much. Next speaking would be Redditt Hudson. Redditt.
I'm Redditt Hudson with the NCLEOJ. Like most of you, I was appalled by what I saw with the officers beating Tyre Nichols to death. I do think, personally, from my own experience, having observed these kinds of things over the years, that not only was it the responsibility of these officers individually exercising their own agency to stop what they were doing, but I think it reflects in a larger sense what it looks like when you see Black officers both internalize and align themselves with police culture, which is itself rooted in white supremacy, as Dr. Davis alluded to earlier. We have a responsibility as police officers, period, regardless of what color you are, to respect the human rights, civil rights, and civil liberties of the people that we've been sworn to serve. But brothers and sisters, I would assert that there is an even greater responsibility for anyone coming from a marginalized community to ensure that the rights and bodies of our people are protected, given the power that we have to act on them and the others around us to act on them. It is our responsibility to make sure that something like this doesn't happen. I am glad to see that these officers are going to be held accountable. They've been released, charged, and indicted. That is the remedy, the short-term remedy to what we see when you look at George Floyd, Tyre Nichols, and a host of other cases. Derek Chauvin going to prison for much of the rest of his life is going to be the best training that is going to be available to new Minneapolis police officers. These officers convicted for the murder of Tyre Nichols is going to be the best training that new Memphis police officers can have. Moving forward, let's all take on that responsibility. If we don't do it, I don't know that we can have the expectation that anyone else will.
Thank you, Redditt Hudson. I am Rochelle, Bilal, currently the sheriff for the city and county of Philadelphia, the first woman ever elected to this position in 181 years, past president of the Guardian Civic League. I am appalled also about the behavior of these law enforcement professionals. I don't know where that training came from, because if they ask for training, we get the best training around this country. That gang mentality that they demonstrated is unacceptable to any of us in this institution. So I'm speaking out collaboratively with my colleagues across the country to state that it's unacceptable and nobody, no human being should be treated as such. Next, it's Billups. Charles Billups.
Yes, basically the words has been echoed across the states. It's been echoed across this country. And I truly believe something should be done. It needs to be brought to a higher level in the idea of responsibility. That's the reason why I'm here today, to support the message that's being conveyed across from our fellow officers throughout this country. And me as chairperson of the Grand Council of Guardians, we are here in support of this statement. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey.
The problem that I have with the situation surrounding the murder of Tyre Nichols is in Chief C.J. Davis, we have a 20+ year law enforcement officer who has previously served as an administrator on three different departments. Chief Davis unleashed on an unsuspecting community inexperienced, ill-trained, unsupervised miscreants. She should know better. I'm calling on the Memphis mayor, Jim Strickland, to ask for her immediate resignation so that we can begin to heal and resolve the problems that currently exist. As a result of her failures, her failures constituted a disservice to her officers, to the community, and to the Nichols family. I'm also calling on the district attorney in Memphis to review every arrest report that was completed by any member of the Memphis Police Department, because we have seen that these officers are proven and demonstrated liars. They have been some charged with giving false and misleading statements, which is a terminable offense, and which makes every arrest report that bears the name of a Memphis officer who's a demonstrated liar to now be tainted. And all of those arrest reports must be reviewed and, where necessary, dismissed. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl Dorsey. This press conference is in collaboration with many Black civic police organizations. We've come together to state that no one organization speaks for us. No one organization speaks for us. And if they're not on here, they didn't want to come on. So we're saying to you, we are appalled of the behavior of law enforcement professionals who have dishumane attitudes towards people of color. And we call for immediate change in the criminal justice system. We say justice for Tyre Nichols. Thank you, and we appreciate you coming on.